Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. It's me again, Marine Tessico, and for today's video, if you're planning to leave Canada from the Philippines, I'll be sharing with you my experience for the flight on how or what will you experience from the Manila airport up until you arrive in Canada. Because today is my flight leaving from the Philippines, so I'm gonna be sharing with you as well some tips and tricks that you need to do. So if you're interested, stay tuned. First off that you need to do is to make sure that you check in online. Now this is really just an optional thing, but I highly recommend because it's easier and it's faster rather than checking in a traditional way. When you do an online check-in, you automatically receive your boarding pass, and there's a specific line most of the time for an online check-in. So the line is usually minimal compared to the traditional check-in. Another thing you need to do before you leave, to do an e-travel. E-travel is done usually or before only if you'll arrive in Philippines. But now, if you're departing from the Philippines, you also need to fill out the e-travel form. So I'm gonna be sharing you the link on where you should do that in the description box below. So make sure to check that. These two things, the check-in online and the e-travel, should be done 24 hours before the time of your departure. Here's an example of how an e-travel should look like if you have filled it out correctly. If in case there are changes, let's say your flight has been delayed or cancelled and it was moved to a different day, then you can still edit it. Just go to the website, click the change or update your previous e-travel form, and then just change the date that you need to travel, and of course the flight number. Checking in, I arrived safe here in Canada. I'm now in British Columbia. I wasn't able to take a video of all the things that have happened during my flight because I was too tired, and aside from that, cameras are usually not allowed, especially in the Philippines and in Thailand because that's my layover. I only have an hour layover as well in Japan or in Tokyo, in Narita. Anyway, even though I don't have clips for that, I only have some, especially when I arrive here in Canada. But I'm gonna show you my experience so that you can have some ideas of what to do during layovers, what to do when you arrive in Canada, and other precautions that you may consider. So again, from Manila, I went to Thailand. First off, these are separate tickets. I did not buy one ticket only, just so I can save some money. But it's a kind of hassle because you need to check in again your baggage, your check-in baggage. Whereas if you'll just buy one ticket, then from your point of departure until your point of arrival, that is where you will be picking up your check-in baggage. But if you have done the same with mine, wherein I had separate tickets, then I need to check in the baggages per ticket. However, it is way cheaper. Like, I probably save about 40% for my fees for the tickets. Also, please ensure that you have travel insurance with your tickets, because currently, with my experience, most airlines always have changes with their flights or delayed or whatsoever reasons they have. So having a travel insurance would really help you save your money. Again, before you leave, make sure you will be filling out the e-departure travel from the Philippines. This is a new policy which was mandated only last April. Talking about layovers. So in your layovers, most of the time you do not need a visa, especially if you're not going out of the airport. For example, I had a layover in Tokyo, and you know that in Japan they do have two airports, which is the Haneda and Narita. If you'll only be traveling from Narita to Narita, you don't need a visa. But if you'll be going from Narita to Haneda, then you would probably need a visa. And in Japan, you can have a transit visa in the airport. But if your layover is in US, then 100% you would need to apply immediately for your travel visa, because it's just really hard to have a layover in US. So I don't suggest unless you have a travel visa. Immigration. Okay, so there was a long line with my immigration in the Philippines. I would say I waited there for about 45 minutes. So make sure you arrive earlier. Probably the safest is 3 hours, least safest, so 3 hours or more. Arrive 3 hours or more before departure if you're coming from Manila, because there's a long line into immigration, girls. However, oh my goodness, this is my experience. I don't know if it's because I have a permanent residency card and that they don't doubt if I'll be leaving from Philippines and going to Canada. Maybe yes, one point, because I'm gonna share my experience when I was an international student and now that I'm a permanent resident. So now that I am a permanent resident, I didn't say anything with the immigration. They just grab my passport, look into it, stamp it, and I'm good to go. Like, I didn't even need to say where I'm going, or really nothing. I did not say any word. He didn't even look at me, he just took a picture of me. Good to go. But when I was an international student and I was living in the Philippines, so there are few questions that was asked to me. First is where I'm going, what am I doing there, which school I'm going to, and how much funds do I have. So those are the 4 questions that I remember was asked to me in the Philippines. And it's easy to go through compared to when you are a tourist visa, because at least if you're an international student, you have something to do in Canada, which is to study. But if you're a tourist visa, then probably at the back of your mind, you wanted to work, right? Now, with immigration, with my layovers, I stayed in Thailand. And in Thailand, Filipinos do not need a visa to enter. And there's really no immigration, I would say. They just need to scan your fingerprints. This is only if you'll be staying in Thailand. But if you're just transiting, then you don't need to worry about it. In Japan, we just transited, no nothing as well. It was really smooth. I thought I will be late because I only have about an hour layover, and I still made it. And in Canada, I don't know what happened with this trip. Maybe I was so blessed. I prayed so much because I've experienced worse during my last trip. I never received questions as well from the immigration officer. Like, nothing. Look into my passport, look into my PR card, look at me, maybe checking if that's me, and that's it. But I also want to share what are the immigration questions that was asked to me when I arrived in Canada as an international student. So I remember the question they have asked me is that, which school are you going to study? Another question is, how long will you be studying? Which program are you taking? And which province you are going to? Those are the 4 questions that I receive or have been asked to me when I arrive as an international student. But of course, once you're a permanent resident, there's no much questions. This is based on my experience, and I'm so glad that I am now a permanent resident of Canada. I can't wait to be a citizen. The thing that you need to consider, and I would like to share based on my trip, is the travel tax. Usually, your tickets should already have your travel taxes paid. But if not, the agent or the ones in the teller in your airlines would tell you that you need to go to a specific area wherein you can get a travel tax stab. Now for me, this is the 2nd time that I traveled as a permanent resident. Permanent residents are always exempted from travel tax. So still you need to go to that area wherein you will get the travel tax, but they will give you a stab saying that you are exempted. That I didn't need to do that because it's already included in my ticket. But if in case that it's not included in your ticket, then please go first and make sure you have a cash ready to pay for those travel taxes. I believe it shouldn't be more than 5,000 pesos. So just make sure to bring cash. That's it. Now for my baggages, my check-in baggages, what did I bring? As a Filipino, we do love food. And of course, it's expensive here. Although they do have it here, but it's really expensive here. All of my check-in baggage only has groceries. Okay? Groceries, meaning all this corned beef, luncheon meat, noodles, everything that you can think of. My hand carry has groceries as well. So in my hand carry, those are the Milos, the powdered milks, everything. And I would say that it did pass through when they scanned my luggage, and they didn't stop me nor ask me what's inside or whatsoever. So I think it still depends on your luck, but I have heard that for some, when they have brought this kind of stuff, which is the groceries, it was surrendered. So of course that's a loss of money, but for me, luckily, I got mine safe on this home and I'm enjoying it now. Alright, those are my experiences and what should you really consider. Now, when you arrive in Canada, no matter which airport you'll be, in Vancouver or in Toronto or whichever, for me, I arrived in Vancouver. There is a declaration area wherein you need to fill out some information, maybe tell what you have, what's in your baggages, which country you came from. Everything is like on this screen. I'm sure I made some clips for that. And there will just be a paper that will come out, and this paper, keep it, okay? Even if you'll get your luggage, before you go out of the exit, you'll need the paper to provide to the border officer before you exit. So don't lose that. Again, you arrive in the airport, you'll be going to a declaration area, you'll be grabbing a stab, you'll be passing the immigration, you'll be getting in your luggage, and then you'll be going to the exit. And the exit is where you will get that paper, okay? I hope I'm clear. And if you have questions, of course, you're free to ask. Just comment it down below. I don't know if I'm missing anything based on my experience that maybe can help you. I can't think of any now, but if in case I missed something and you wanted to know, then let me know and I will be happy to answer that. And that's it, and I'll see you on my next vlog. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you. Bye!